Thank you for joining us today. We will be addressing how we plan on reducing the problem behaviors present at Ellison Preschool. We have used these interventions with many other schools in the area. The faculty and staff have seen an incredible change in their school, and most importantly in their students. We hope that after today, you will agree that our plan is the best way to make a change within your school and with your students as well. Here at Ellison, you serve 200 students. There are 50 regular ed students and 150 special education students. All students range between the ages of 3 to 5. 50 are in speech therapy, 25 are nonverbal or have no communication, and 5 use PECs. This will come in handy later. You have 20 classrooms with 8 to 12 students and a multitude of staff. This will also come in handy because we will need all hands on deck. We are brought here today because there are two main problem behaviors that occur within all the classrooms here at Ellison. That is fighting over toys and tantrums. It is said that a student will grab a toy from a peer instead of asking, which then ensues these problem behaviors. We have a plan that will replace these behaviors with more socially appropriate behaviors while increasing functional communication between peers. These are the interventions: PECs, differential reinforcement of alternative behavior, and social stories. Here is some basic terminology you will need to know before we continue. PECs. This is a low-tech communication system where picture tiles are exchanged with a partner to communicate wants and needs. We will use PECs to help facilitate communication between peers during playtime. Social narrative, also known as social stories. These are simple stories that illustrate appropriate behavior when interacting with peers and others in the community. We will use social narratives as a model of appropriate behavior during playtime. Differential reinforcement of alternative behavior. This is when we will reinforce or reward a more socially appropriate behavior than the current behavior that is being exhibited. We will use differential reinforcement in conjunction with PECs and social narratives. We will use verbal praise to reward students for using appropriate communication and sharing behavior. We will go further into these interventions in the next few slides. With the implementation of these interventions, these tools will help Ellison teach appropriate playtime behavior, make necessary accommodations in classrooms that will help facilitate communication between peers, especially during playtime, and reinforce any appropriate replacement behaviors. Let's begin by discussing the background and research behind PECs. Andy Bondi and Lori Frost first developed the system because they observed children with autism who had little to no speech because they were using picture-based systems that heavily relied on imitation through matching. This did not help with functional communication. Research over the years has shown that PECs gives individuals with little to no communication a way to communicate their wants and needs. When a child feels like they cannot communicate, they often engage in problem behaviors like the ones seen here at Ellison. PECs training is not complicated, and the picture icons are easy for all to understand. Research has found that PECs increases cooperative play and sharing behaviors, as well as attention. Also, PECs can not only be guided by adults, but can be guided by peers as well. Social narratives are another intervention we will be using that has been backed by much research. Social narratives are an effective evidence-based intervention that uses visuals to model appropriate behavior. Research has shown that social narratives are highly effective with children with autism. This is because social stories help highlight relevant cues that may be needed in social situations, and often these social situations can be confusing for individuals such as children with autism. These stories are also effective in showing the perspective of others. Social stories cover a wide range of topics such as sharing, lining up behavior, appropriate volume, and turn taking, to name a few. There will be more training later on both of these interventions, so not only your students can master them, but you can too. We will implement these interventions in a step-by-step process. Here's how we will do so. Don't worry, we will go over these more extensively in training. This video is a great example of how we will implement PECs within the classroom and models how we will do this process. You will also be given a PECs implementation checklist. This is so you can go through and correctly model each step of PECs.
Rubik's Cube. My turn. Rubik's Cube. Squishy ball. My turn. 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 Squishy ball.
Here's an example of a sharing social narrative, much like the one you will be reading to the students at the beginning of the day. This checklist will also be a great way to monitor the necessary steps needed for social narratives. Let's think of these interventions in tiers. Tier 1, the universal tier. Tier 2, the small group tier. And Tier 3, the individual tier. For Ellison. Tier 1. We will make a schedule change. Playtime will be scheduled as follows. We will split playtime between the 20 classrooms. 10 will go to playtime either inside or outside between 10:45 and 11:15. And 10 will go to playtime inside or outside between 11:30 to 12. This is so that we can have all staff necessary to help with implementation. Morning carpet time is when the assigned social narrative will be read. It will be read by all teachers in all the classrooms prior to the class's playtime. Tier 2 is where we will focus on PECs and intensifying the interventions in Tier 1. We'll use PECs to help functionally communicate phrases such as "toys please" and "my turn," We will also help peers that have verbal communication use functional phrases as well. This will help model phrases to peers that use PECs. In Tier 3, this is where modifications will be made. There will be a speech pathologist that will be made available to do this. They will modify boards for students, assist in any further acquisition of PECs, if an individual needs any extra assistance, and they will add or take away any picture icons. Data collection is necessary and will be used before implementation and during implementation. Both processes look very similar and will give us a way to monitor progress of the interventions. We will use a weekly behavior chart to monitor this progress within the classroom. Each staff member will be utilized in the implementation process. Every person counts and will be needed for success to be possible. Funding is extremely important, and we will use 3 different streams to do so. Professional development is also very important. We will be giving staff guided feedback and practice of interventions. To help with practice of interventions, we will also be giving handouts for both interventions and how to implement interventions. There will be a group meeting to go over questions and to review skills within the handouts and the guided practices. Also, we will have ongoing evaluations to make sure all staff is implementing correctly for maximum success. We will also need to change supporting policy. This is so we can allow outside practices such as registered behavior technicians to assist in one-on-one, or companies such as us that will help with behavior consult. Parent and community involvement are absolutely crucial, and all training materials will be made available to both parties. Communication is key. It is encouraged and we will need to have open and fluid communication between all staff in order for ultimate success. Change is good. These interventions are here to help the current situation at Ellison. Flexibility. If it becomes apparent that changes in the PECs or social narrative intervention are required, then changes will be made accordingly. Use the tools that we give you. We have made all materials to best help you and to best help with successful implementation.